Are we progressively ready to put a predator on trial? And get pissed?
Hell yeah!
Please, take a seat. Hello everybody, and welcome to VR Courtroom, a very realistic and respectable courtroom where there's going to be some alcohol and some really weird shit going on tonight. I'm Judge Ekron, and today we have a celebrity amongst our ranks in the form of Chris Hanson, who has finally, allegedly, fallen foul to one of his own schemes used to catch so many predators like Alex, or Spret, or the Bourne. Yes, allegedly fallen into one of these traps, and today we are trying Chris Hanson for being a predator. Specifically on one kind of terrifying child. Mr. Hanson, knowing the severity of the crimes, your celebrity status, and the fact that you are a well-respected bastard, I mean paedophile hunter, how do you plead to the crimes put before you?
I'm Chris Hanson, and I'm not guilty.
Chris Hanson has pled not guilty, well I say. It appears we have a case going on. Very well. Why are you objecting, Mr. Prosecution Lawyer? That's a very good way to have me throw things at you until your armor is cracked and disgusting and you get thrown out of the Marine Corps. No. No.
Simply's here. He's the suspect.
Mr. Reflex, I do believe that you are not understanding the procedure of court, so I'm going to tell you to shut the fuck up and sit the fuck down until I tell you can talk. Thank you so very kindly. If you continue to be a pain in the ass, I will make Alex sit on your lap, and you don't fucking want that. Trust me.
But Alex does.
I know what he does to his cows. Anyway! Knowing that we've heard from Mr. Hanson that he is pleading not guilty to the heinous crimes that are laid before him, we shall be proceeding forward with a jury-based trial. There are currently 5 members of the jury: Negative, Etero, Alex, Bro, Starcloud, and the Bourne. I believe most of them are used to running on a panel of the inquiries and betters and all that bullshit. These people will be deciding your fate, Mr. Hanson, whatever your name is, and if I disagree with them, I'm going to overrule them anyway, because I'm the judge and I can do whatever the fuck I want. Plus, I've just started drinking, which is always an excellent thing in court. Anyway, jury trial. We shall go through all the rules and the procedure of court. I'm aware that everybody in this room, except for LC, Unmute, and Mr. Reflex, are aware of the rules, but as one of the people who are not aware of the rules happens to be a lawyer, I'm going to have to say it all again. Hooray! But before we do all of that, we're going to dismiss the prosecuting lawyer and the defending lawyer to go into the back room and collect their evidence. The prosecution shall use podium number 1 to 4. The defense shall use podium number 5 to 8, and there will be a piece of critical evidence on podium number 9. The lawyers are expected to refer to this critical evidence in their case however they want. This critical evidence will be put on the podium before the lawyers are allowed to enter the room, so they'll have to stay in here and be rather stupid. During this time period, Mr. Spret may get over his starstruck status and speak to his client in the back room, whereas Mr. Reflex is going to have to sort of stand in the hallway so he can't hear what's going on. Now that I've finished bullshitting my way through the introduction, I always fucking do, does the defense have any questions in relation to anything I've just said?
No, ma'am.
If you continue to call me ma'am, I may get very cross and your client may face a much more severe penalty even if he's found innocent, because that's how democracy works. Mr. Reflex, do you have any questions in relation to anything that I've just said? Oh, I'm blue screening.
Oh, no, I don't.
Very well. In that case, then, I am dismissing the defense lawyer and his client into the entrance lobby to discuss their case, and I'm dismissing Mr. Reflex into this room on the side here, although he is not to enter the evidence room until critical evidence has been placed. I will also just inform you quickly that Itiru, although she is on the jury, is also acting as my court assistant today, and Alex is my irritating guy that I will use to piss people off if they're bastards to me. Everybody else is just the jury. Yes, Alex, I love you too. But if you're too bad, I'm going to be wholesome to you. You know the rules. Right, defence, off you go to the back. Mr. Prosecution, do come with me. Itiru, I would like you in the back room when they're putting their evidence. It's about 30 fucking times. Not my problem. So, we're going to hand the floor over to Mr. Sprett, who is acting as the defence lawyer today. Let me just lock the side doors. I don't know why they're unlocked. To make his opening statement to the court. So, Mr. Sprett, with the best of luck to you, the floor is now yours. You may begin. There's my booze.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay.
He said ma'am! He said ma'am!
Outstanding job. Looks like you're going to jail afterward. Sorry, Chris.
Carry on.
Okay. My client here, Mr.
Hey, you gotta open up the front door.
Of course, she is innocent. This entire case, just a big misunderstanding. Is that the right word? Maybe.
Misunderstanding.
And with my and with my evidence here today, I'm gonna prove that he is not guilty of this crime.
Lovely. Thank you very much for your opening statement, Mr. Sprett. Short and concise, to the point, and no information given away. Outside of a misunderstanding, I look forward to hearing what you're going to say. Mr. Reflex, I'm going to lend the floor to you now for you to make your opening statement. You may get up and wander around as you see fit.
Mr. Hanson, did you or did you not touch that child?
Mr. Reflex, if I may just remind you, at the moment this is opening statements, not witness questioning, so short, concise statements about... Don't fret, don't panic, it's okay. Just making that point clear.
I believe that Chris Hanson is a pedophile for touching the child.
Okay? If you're happy with that as an opening statement, I will accept that, Mr. Reflex.
I'm just gonna go with that, dude.
In that case, then, two very short opening statements. Right, anyway. Yes, thank you for your opening statements, lawyers. Vastly appreciated. Looking forward to this case, especially with that clarification in mind now. So now I am going to lend the floor over to Mr. Reflex to make his full and frank case using all of the evidence that he has acquired. Reminding Mr. Reflex that he may ask for a piece of evidence to be shown on screen by giving me the numbers that he's used for his evidence, and that there is no witness questioning here unless the other lawyer agrees to allow him to ask a question. So, Mr. Reflex, bearing in mind Mr. Sprett may object as he sees fit, the floor is yours to present your full and frank case. Don't be afraid. Alex bites, but I don't.
My evidence is number 4, for when the child has a porn addiction. And uses that porn addiction to take advantage of the child.
Okay, so Mr. Hanson has an addiction to porn, and he's somehow used that perhaps in the form of these childish animators to lure the child into the right mind state for a bit of a fun time. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Fair enough. Don't worry, Mr. Sprett. I'll throw you a fair few bones as well. Okay. Any other evidence to that, Mr. Reflex, or is that your entire case?
I have a bit more evidence, but I'll save it for later.
We do ask you to do your whole case as it is, unless you're bringing up evidence specifically in witness questioning. And don't forget to refer to the critical evidence as well, the horse tranquilizers.
Oh, okay, so I'll give up the lister then. So, Prince Hanson convinced the child to let him inside the house with evidence number 1, with the key, and bribing the child with evidence number 2, with a dough coin.
Ooh, that's good.
And with that, giving the child a drink including the horse tranquilizer. There is evidence that there has been signs of that on the cup on evidence number 3.
It's 3.
Okay. That's my evidence and that's my story.
Okay then, so a fairly simple story. He went to the child's house, having spent time on the internet getting the child ready with grooming activities, which included showing porn. Got the child to let him in using the child's house key and using a Dogecoin, as children accept shiny things, and then drugged the child in their favourite cup using horse tranquilizers. So everything's been referred to. Bit short and sweet, but it is the way it is. Thank you very much for your case, Mr. Reflex. We don't need to hear any of the sordid details about how exactly a man with no lower body does anything to a child. Personally, I'd rather not. So thank you very much for your case, Mr. Reflex. And as I said, Mr. Spret, don't worry, I will throw you through. I will share with you plenty of bones as well, and I will be kind to you as I have been kind to Mr. Reflex there. So, bearing that in mind, the case that has been presented, and that was technically my interpretation, Mr. Spret, if you would like to take to the floor to defend your client, I'm sure we're all looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
Yes, of course. Here we go. By the way, I can't see the screen.
I've turned it off.
Kick. Yeah, but I couldn't see it anyway.
Okay.
And everybody is sitting in different places, so that's just my screen, but I know what's going on. If I'm looking. Okay. Thank you. Give me a quick second. Okay, we all here in this room know who Chris Hanson is. My good client and good friend, Miss Chris Hanson here. Mr. Chris Hanson, I'm sorry. Is a well-known and good man whose job is to catch predators from touching young children, which he himself do not like. My client here do not like young children. Just so we know that. If we will put on the first evidence on number 5.
A mobile telephone and a pizza, Mr. Spret.
Anyway. Okay. The only evidence we really have is the contact between Chris Hanson and this young child, this little girl, is on the text messages on this phone. There's no physical evidence that they have met each other in the real world. And if you will put on my next camera, number 6, you may have wondering why Mr. Chris Hanson here wanted to get in touch with the young girl. As you can see in this picture, Mr. Chris Hanson here wanted to make the movie version
Above
of
your
the
reflex.
series Cuties.
Oh.
So Mr. Chris Hanson was hiring young girls to play in his new movie Cuties. As you can see, we have a voice recording box next to the picture, which in this voice recordings you can hear the conversation between Chris Hanson and this young girl. If you want to hear it for yourself, you can feel free to go and grab it.
Right, thank you, Mr. Tiro. Right, for the benefit of the jury members, I am now going to hit the stop button and then the play button. So I've hit the stop button and the play button. Did we all hear that? That was a lady's scream. I will repeat that for the benefit of the court. So for the benefit of the jury, that was a lady's scream of terror. Well, I mean, if I was being cast to be put in fucking cuties, I think I sound like that. So, very well, Mr. Spratt, thank you. You may carry on with your case.
What is this all about? Is this some serious business?
Shut up.
Yeah.
If you go,
Is it like a role play?
Next
or-
evidence.
if you will go to my next evidence,
Number 7.
Yeah, it is a role play, but we need to be quiet by now.
Det var jag sockernoddan.
okay, in this picture, as you can see, my client here is not sexual attracted to young children. My client here is more into, you know, furries and you know, full body pillows. As you can see next to
That's not a furry.
this body pillows, you can see Chris Hanson's cum socks. You see my client Chris Hanson is only attracted to
That guy.
imaginary creatures and pillows.
That sounds a lot like me.
Okay, if you will put on my next evidence.
Yeah.
You see, Chris Hanson actually hates little children. He hates them so much. He only defending the children because of his TV show, to of course his job. But in the Chris Hanson's spare time, he runs his own abortion clinics using
Oh!
coat hangers. Is that the name?
They are coat hangers. Mr. Spratt, might I politely ask something? When you were coming up with this case, was this your logical thinking, or was this the copious amount of alcohol you're drinking thinking?
There was a cum sock involved, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, alright, fair enough. Mr. Hanson,
I needed that.
quick question, Mr. Hanson. Do you have a regulatory abortion clinic master's license type 29B?
My name is Chris Hanson, and it's more as a hobby.
Right, Mr. Hanson, well, unfortunately we're going to have to close your clinics down and fine you so far into the ground that you're going to die anyway. But that's irrelevant, we'll deal with that at the end of the case. Mr. Spratt, you may continue with your genuinely entertaining, if not tiny horrifying, and probably not YouTube-friendly court case. Shite.
Well, to be fair, as I said, I wasn't actually sure what this case was about, so this is more improvising. But anyway, if you will go to my... as you can see the stack of money, this is of course, he's getting of course a lot of money out of his business. That's how my good client there bought his new car, a white van. You see, my good friend Chris Hanson here is so good to this community that Chris Hanson here would give out free candy to children around school areas and parks like that, and we even drive extra slow while crossing, you know, driving past school and kindergartens. If we put on the next evidence.
This is the critical evidence, which, as I've mentioned, are horse tranquilizers. They were found in his van.
Card. Okay, thank you. That's all.
What did you say in relation to them? Sorry, Mr. Spratt?
he takes it to get his D card.
You know, I was kind of expecting you to say
yes.
that, so, Alex, you are my expert on weird fetishes that are not related to the furry fandom. Can you confirm that if taking horse tranquilizers gets your dick very hard?
I mean, it only gets my penis hard when I give it to somebody else and they fall asleep. But other than that, no.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Jury Member Alex, and with that, we come to an end of this kind of drunk and very entertaining course. I need more alcohol before we carry on. So, we've done that. That was something, quite something on the prosecution side. We have a fairly serious case where Mr. Hanson has used various tricks up his sleeve and tricks to get into the house and do horrific things to children, much in the way the predators that he catches does. And on the defense's side, we've had one hell of a fucking ride, which I will cover when we get to the judge's summary on that one. Although, may the jury have reacted, I think both sides did very, very well, and I would like to offer my formal apologies to Mr. Sprett for insulting his improv ability. You have still got it, so I do apologise, Mr. Sprett, formally. That was very rude of me. I will definitely edit this bit out of the video, though, so nobody will know I ever said it. Right. So now we're going to move on to the next part of court, and that's when you don't become my friend anymore. We're going to move on to the next part of court, which is witness questioning. Now, of course, we have two witnesses today. We have the accused, Mr. Chris Hanson himself, and we have the child, who Mr. Hanson originally groomed, predated upon, and did horrific things to accidentally, except not very accidentally. So, as the prosecuting lawyer, Mr. Reflex, I'm going to give you the option to choose which witness you would like to call to the stand first. Mr. Hanson or weird child thing?
Ekron?
Yes, Mr. Dimpley?
Ekron, can I talk with Reflex first?
No.
In the back room?
No.
Can I talk with the child after the court case?
Yes. Mr. Reflex?
Yeah!
Mr. Judge,
Yes, Mr.
I am Chris Hanson, and I have a question.
And what is your question, Mr. Hanson?
I am Chris Hanson, and my question is, can I talk to the child alone after the case?
Only if you take Alex with you.
Hey! Double team, baby!
Education! Right, Mr. Reflex, who would you like to call to the stand first? Order in the court! That means you shut up now, thank you. The recess is coming to an end. Please don't play with the sound effect, Mr. Negative. That is a piece of evidence that we cannot replay. Mr. Reflex, thank you for returning to the court. Might I politely request which witness you would like to call up first, the child or the accused?
Let's go for the accused.
Very well. In that case, then, Mr. Hanson is the one who will be questioned first. Mr. Hanson, before we can bring you in for questioning as of such, you must repeat the pledge of honesty after me. You must simply repeat the phrases as I say it. Are you ready?
My name is Chris Hanson, and yes.
I, Chris Hanson.
I, Chris Hanson.
Chris Hanson. Chris Hanson. Hanson Chris.
Chris Hanson, Chris Hanson, Chris Hanson, Hanson Chris.
Hanson Chris. Chris Hanson. Hanson Chris. Kitty Fiddler.
Chris Hanson, Chris Hanson, Chris Hanson, credit form, Hitler Fit.
So help me, Chris Hanson.
So help me, Chris Hanson, after the break.
That was all we were going to get out of him, so thank you very much, Mr. Hanson. Mr. Reflex, you may begin your witness questioning. You may ask him anything you see relevant to the case at all. Mr. Hanson may refuse to answer a question if he desires, but it is not advisable, and Mr. Sprett may object as he sees fit. Go ahead, Mr. Reflex.
The big question here is, why did you have horse tranquilizer in your car?
I will answer the question after the break.
I believe that's a refusal to answer.
Alright. For any reason why you were in the child's house by any chance?
I am Chris Hanson, and we were trying to catch predators in the house.
But
Looks
there
in
was
the
no
mirror.
one but you.
I'm Chris Hanson and we ordered pizza.
So you decided to give the child a cup full of tranquilizer. For the
What?
drink. So you decided to give the child's favorite mug with the favorite drink with a hint of tranquilizer. Horse tranquilizer, in fact.
I do that to get my dick hard, just like Alex Brotail.
No, I do it to Bill Cosby.
Oh, okay.
Jesus.
I am Chris Hanson, and I never met this girl in real life.
But she's
Remember
not
to
sure.
like and subscribe.
Thanks.
If you like this one, just via text.
Don't forget the bell icon.
Right, we are getting a little bit
Share it with
distracted
your
by
family
the
on Facebook.
entertaining nature of everything about this, so let's allow the lawyer to ask his questions, bearing in mind Mr. Hanson has refused to answer a very important question.
That'll be all.
Very well. Mr. Sprett, would you like to cross-examine the witness?
Sure.
Then go ahead, Mr. Sprett. Try not to set him off too much, though. I'm struggling, and my tongue is probably bleeding at this point.
Okay, so we know that you wanted to make this new show with this girl. As I have showed the jury today. Can you tell me more about this show or your plan with this girl was?
Yes, the show. I forgot. My name is Chris Hanson. This show we were making about was that we have a girl called Cuties, and the girl who was 12 years old was going to show people how to twerk and be on twerk show tomorrow. And then we're going to sell it to Netflix like everybody else.
But that sounds like a good idea. I don't see any problem why you will not hire a young child in bikini to do such a thing.
My name is Chris Hanson. I tried to sell it to NBC, like my show is on.
I don't see any problem in what you're just a good citizens trying to give young girls jobs. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay then, well, I don't think there was any information gleaned there that was important enough to warrant a re-cross-examination by the prosecution, so I am going to dismiss the witness at this point. Thank you, Mr. Hanson. I'm now going to ask you to step out of the limelight for a moment and sit next to your lawyer, biggest fanboy, whatever you may refer to him as. Please, sit. Take a seat.
I'm Chris Hanson, and this episode is over of Catch a Predator.
Right. Mr. Reflex, would you like to call the child in question to the stand?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
Very well. Could we please bring the child
go back in
in?
the back room and change.
Yes, go in the back room and fetch the child, please, Mr. Dimpley.
Yep.
Of course, the child does need to be brought in by an adult because children are fucking stupid. I'm going to do an executive decision here and say this is the end of this witness questioning entirely, and I want to strike some of the most horrific stuff you've heard from the record because fucking hell's teeth. Like, I'm not drunk enough for this. This is supposed to be fun, and she's literally talking about being.
What happened to me when I was a child? It's a normal thing.
Judge,
I'm not gonna lie, Ekron, this is getting a little too much for me.
So, yes, taking into consideration that I'm definitely not drunk enough for this, I am striking pretty much that entire witness testimony from outside of that Mr. Hanson came to the house, was let in using the key, gave her a shiny coin. Allegedly, they discussed this television show that Mr. Hanson was creating over pizza. There are no other details of any use have come out of this witness questioning, and the jury are instructed to forget anything they've heard. And if you do that to me again, I swear there's going to be trouble. Cool. I'm a robot. So now that we've had our witness questioning, as traumatic as it was, we're going to move on to the next part of court, which of course is amendments. Amendments are short and concise things, which basically means if you want to change something in your case related to information you have heard from witnesses, or what the other lawyers have said, now is the time to do it. Of course, you are not obliged to make any amendments if you do not wish to do so. So, Mr. Sprett, would you like to make any amendments to your court case as you have presented it?
No, but I just want you all to remember what I said in my first evidence, that there is no proof that my client, Mr. Chris Hanson, ever met with this young girl.
Mr. Sprett, this would be something for your closing statement, not your amendments. Thank you. Mr. Reflex, do you have any amendments you wish to make to your case as you have presented it?
No, Your Honor.
Very good. Well, in that case, then we shall move on to our closing statements. Much like opening statements, closing statements are a short and concise statement about the case as you have interpreted it. It's been a genuinely interesting case, and I'm looking forward to hearing closing statements. So, I'm going to lend the floor, as Mr. Sprett did start his closing statement there, I'm going to lend the floor to Mr. Sprett so he can carry on without losing too much momentum. So, Mr. Sprett, if you'll be kind enough to make your closing statement to the court. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna make this fast. Chris Hanson never met with a girl. Chris Hanson is a nice person. He likes to drive car, give kids candy from his car, take care of them. He is nice to children, but he also some way actually hates them because he runs his own homemade abortion clinic. It's not sexually attracted to children, that's why he comes in camisoles and like full body pillows. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sprett, for your closing statement. Vastly appreciated. And the floor goes for the last time to Mr. Reflex for his closing statement. If you'd be kind enough, Mr. Reflex, we await.
There is many evidence going towards Chris Hanson with the evidence that given by me. Given the key where he has the key in his pocket as soon as Chris Hanson was knocking in case the child refused to open the door. Bribing her with the coin, and after bribing her, giving her her favorite drink with the hint of horse tranquilizer, while also showing her very graphic videos that were not supposed to be seen to a child, henceforth proven guilty.
Lovely, thank you very much for your closing statement, Mr. Reflex. And with that, we bring our lawyer-based cases to an end. And an interesting case it's been, except somewhat traumatic, and once again a first, which is a witness literally being struck from the record and everything being struck. That's a new one, so apologies to the members of the jury for that. How many members of the jury do we appear to have? 4 members of the jury. We've lost someone again. Where's Negative? Is Negative on there? We've lost someone. Where's Tiru?
He's there.
Oh, she's behind me. Okay.
Right there.
Apologies, I missed you, Mr. Tiru. Actually, I could just look at the screen right there. So we do have the 5 members of the jury, which is fantastic, meaning that we'll be able to go through and do a full jury thing. And I'm actually I think I'm going to come in the back room and record it, because I genuinely want to hear what you do. So I'm going to do that, but that's irrelevant now. We're now going to go over the judge's summary, which, of course, where I talk endlessly about the case as it's... Oh my god, that noise is very annoying, and it hasn't done it for ages. Anyway, I'm going to talk about the case now as I have interpreted it, including the witness statements that we've had. And I'm going to, of course, begin with the prosecution. Now, I believe the evidence went a bit funny in the prosecution's order, so I just need to have a quick nosy. Why are you being a... I hate you. My apologies for being an idiot. I know how to...
Hey!
Hang on.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, sir. It is a unanimous decision. We, the jury, find the verdict guilty of predatory statute. Alrighty, everyone. Greetings. It has been a long and very interesting trial. A lot of things have been said, a lot of things have been presented. I would like to hear y'all's thoughts before I give mine, so we'll go ahead and start off with Alex Bro and work our way to the left.
Alright, I think that guy's guilty of sin. From everything that I heard, it's sounding straight up like he tried to that young child. It's a bit much, I'm gonna say.
Understood. Understood. Okay, Negative, what is your opinion on this trial?
He is guilty from what's shown. From what's shown. So basically, he went to the house 100%. So he went to get pizza or talk about a show. But also, the testimony said he didn't go to the house. So that means, yeah.
Understood. I can't see your full name. Itiru? What is your opinion on the trial? Understood.
I'm in agreement.
Unfortunately, we cannot do that because then we would end up in another trial with one of us being committed murder. So we will let society.
Okay, we'll leave it to Alex we'll leave it to Alex to do the dirty
I'm good at
work.
escaping the law.
StarCloud, what is your opinion on this court case?
Oh, I'm gonna be the interpreter because they're mute. So, StarCloud, what do you have to say? They're guilty as sin and should go to hell.
Understood. Well, I guess it's a unanimous vote. We will go ahead and go out into the front, and I will go ahead and present the verdict. Let's go ahead and head back. Thank you so much.
Alright.